What's crack, guys? Welcome back to my channel. It's me again, Kazzie, and in today's video I'm going to be sharing with you all of the books that I read in June. June was pretty much an average reading month for me. I read 6 books, been averaging 6 books for most of the year except for May, which was a freak accident where I got 12 books read. I'll never accomplish that again. And within those 6 books, they were pretty much average as well, averaging maybe like 3 stars, 4 stars, one was 4.5, not quite the 5. So with all that being said, let's just talk about some books. The first book that I read in June was Everything Leads to You by Nina LaCour. This is a contemporary novel, and if you know me, I'm not the biggest contemporary reader. It's like once in a blue moon that I read one, but I brought this with me on holiday, and for once I actually managed to finish a book whilst on holiday. Granted, I finished it on the plane on the way home, but I finished it when I was on holiday, so it counts. So this follows Emmy, who is a set dresser for a studio. She is the one that, you know, when you look at a set and it's all decked out with furniture and photographs and books and just all other kinds of paraphernalia, she's the one in charge of doing that. So whilst trying to find furniture for her latest movie, she goes to an estate sale for a Hollywood icon and discovers a letter hidden in a record, and everything leads from there. I enjoyed it. Like, it was cute, it was fun, it was adorable at times, but there were just moments where I'm just like, seriously, do people talk like that nowadays? I just wasn't buying a whole lot of it, but as I said, it was adorable, it was cute, it was fun, it was just a contemporary read for a holiday. I loved that she's a set dresser. I got to learn all about the things that go into dressing a set, because I never knew that. I never knew that so much went into it, that they actually had to buy things, not just borrow them. And they went to estate sales and this kind of sale and that kind of sales and rummage sales and flea markets and all that kind of thing. So that was interesting for me to learn. But the characters kind of felt almost forgettable to me, because even when I was like just like sat here like going, who's this about? I had to actually look at the back, and it was Emmy. Oh yeah, I remembered Charlotte. Charlotte I adored, but everything else, yeah. So it was a 3-star read for me. Not great, not bad, just straight down the middle. Next, I read Finale by Stephanie Garber. This is the last book in the Caraval trilogy. This was a bit of a disappointment. Everybody was so hyped about this book, and personally I was hyped about it because, you know, I loved Caraval, I liked Legendary. Caraval for me was 5 stars, Legendary was 4 stars, this is 3. I am so disappointed by this. As I said, everybody was like hyping it up. Everybody on Instagram was hyping it. A lot of people on BookTube were hyping it. Even my own best friend, she absolutely loved it. And I was like thinking, I struggled through it. There's a double love triangle. What? Scarlet was annoying me. Donatella was annoying me. Legend was freaking annoying me. Everybody was just annoying me, and just the way that Stephanie Garber writes annoyed me. There was one sentence that just went and da-da-da, and da-da-da, and da-da-da, and da-da-da, and da-da. I was like, take a shot every time she writes and. Also, the way that she describes the dresses that Donatella and Scarlet were wearing, I thought they sounded absolutely revolting. I could not imagine them in my head. I'm like, what kind of dresses are these girls wearing that they think that they're fashionable? I just couldn't get my mind to wrap itself around the writing that she had. It just did not gel with me the way that Caraval really grabbed me, and I just struggled through this so much. I did give it 3 stars. I probably should bump it down to a 2, because like, to put it on the same par as Everything Leads to You, which I enjoyed, and this one I didn't enjoy, I think I definitely need to bump it down to a 2. Sorry. After that was my 4.5 read of the month, and that was Aurora Rising by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. I freaking loved this. The reason why I knocked the 0.5 off it was there was just that thing that I just didn't grab. It was the thing between Ori and Cal that I was just like, seriously? No. Everything else about it I loved. This is basically like the crew of Firefly meets like Starship Troopers. What did I say in my notes? Hang on a minute. The characters in this were like the Red Squad team from Star Trek, but they are the personalities of the crew of Serenity from Firefly. It doesn't make sense. Ori reminds me of River a lot, and there were these little nods to science fiction shows that I don't know whether I was looking too far into it, but there was a ship called the Bellerophon, and I know that in Greek mythology he used to be one of the greatest heroes, and then his ego undid him. But in Star Trek Deep Space Nine, there was an Intrepid class ship called the Bellerophon, and Voyager is an Intrepid class starship. So basically Voyager was in this book. There was a moment when the artificial intelligence said, "Would you like to know more?" All I heard was Starship Troopers, "Would you like to know more?"
Would you like to know more?
In those little infomercial moments that intersperse the movie, I just heard Starship Troopers. Kat always says, "Shut up, Finian." That just screamed to me from Star Trek Next Generation, "Shut up, Wesley."
But shut up, Wesley!
And another one where it was probably overreaching is when one of the characters says, "We're boned," and all I could just hear was Bender from Futurama.
Well, we're boned!
I just loved those little nods that, you know, some geeks could get or, you know, like overreach in my case. Nevertheless, I loved this band of misfits. I adored them. That ending, how dare you, Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff, how freaking dare you. I laughed that Jay Kristoff tweeted the other day that he gets that tweet a lot, you know, like, "How dare you," and he's like, "I've lost track of which book you are talking about." In my case, it is this one, "How dare you." And the bad guys, oh my goodness, they reminded me of the Borg so much. It reminded me of Star Trek Destiny by David Mack. It was just so good, and I cannot wait for the next book in the series, 4.5, just because of that little thing between Aurora and Cal. If you've read the book, you kind of know what I'm talking about, but it's just, I don't like that in books, so that's where the 0.5 came off. After that, I read Clockwork Angel by Cassandra Clare. This is the first book in the Infernal Devices series and the first book ever that I read by Cassandra Clare. I know people say you can start with the Mortal Instruments and then go to the Infernal Devices, but I kind of like to read them in chronological order, which is kind of weird because Chain of Gold kind of then goes between Infernal Devices and the Mortal Instruments, but that's neither here nor there. I really enjoyed this. I gave this 4 stars. It gave me such Sanctuary vibes in so many ways. Like the way that they treat Charlotte, the head of the Institute in London, it was just like Helen Magnus, and the way she handled it, just like Helen Magnus. I really love this. Tessa at times got on my nerves, but in a good way, and the way that it introduces the whole world to the reader, you feel like Tessa. I felt like Tessa because I knew nothing about the Mortal Instruments or the Shadowhunters world, so the way that she was learning about it, I was learning about it, and I loved that. I am Team Jem, just so you know. I love Jem. Like, I do like Will, but Jem is definitely my favourite, and Henry and Charlotte, they are my trifecta. It really surprised me how much I enjoyed this book. Like, if anybody had told me it's like Sanctuary, I would have added up years ago. I think any kind of Sanctuary fan would enjoy this book, or anybody that enjoys, you know, like Victorian London, vampires, werewolves, wizards, just anything kind of supernatural, they will like it. As I said, I was surprised by how much I liked it, like, which was kind of stupid because obviously I had hoped that I would have liked it, otherwise I wouldn't have bought the entire trilogy. Nevertheless, I really enjoyed this, so I give this 4 stars. After that, I listened to the audiobook of The Wise Man's Fear by Patrick Rothfuss. I give this 3 stars, which was shocking because I thought I was going to love it, because I loved The Name of the Wind, which I listened to the audiobook of early in the year. Loved it. I could not stop listening to it. Even when I had to stop listening to it, I was wanting to listen to it. I was needing to listen to it. I felt that A Wise Man's Fear was unnecessarily long. I ended up giving it 3 stars, mostly because 3/5 of it I liked, and then the last 2/5 I kind of hated. There was a part where he was with Felurian, whatever the freaking character's name was. I did not see the point in it, beyond him getting something from her. I was like, what is the point of this section of the book? I was bored by it. I wanted to skip it. Yeah, I could have skipped it, but I felt like I might have been missing out on a lot of information. I didn't. I just had such frustrations with this book. I loved the start. I loved him leaving. I loved him in this place. And then he went on this journey. Went to this place. Hated that bit. Went to this bit. And I was like, alright, this bit. What is the freaking point? I just could not understand how long this book was. It was far too long. Whereas Name of the Wind, like, obviously it is a chunky book, but every single word in that book, every single thing that happens to Gavoth was worth it. Most of the Wise Man's Fear was not. I just couldn't get over how, like, unnecessarily long it was, so that's why it was 3 stars. And the last book that I read in June, and another 4-star read, was Clockwork Prince by Cassandra Clare, which is the second book in the Infernal Devices. Really liked this one. I loved that it was more about Charlotte trying to keep her position as the head of the Institute, and the whole play of cat and mouse between everybody. Jessamine and Tessa and Will again have annoyed me again in this one, mostly because, like, the love triangle, I was like, oh my god, Tessa, stop playing hot and cold with those boys. Jem does not deserve that.
Team Jem, all the way.
With the Clockwork Angel, I was also surprised by how much I enjoyed this book. I really did not want to put it down, except for when the love triangle was kind of happening. But when it was happening, damn, it was steamy. The ending, I cannot wait to get on to the 3rd book, which was Clockwork Princess. I cannot wait to see how this wraps up. And I've also encountered why the next series is called Chain of Gold. I was like, when I was reading this one, I was like, oh, is that why it's called Chain of Gold? So I'm kind of reading these at the perfect time. I kind of have a knack for doing that, like reading some books at the perfect time when you get the connections and things like that. Very much enjoyed it. Loving Cassandra Clare's books. I kind of really want to read all of them now. I've got a lot to catch up on. I know that, but what's new there? So those are all of the books that I read in June. Let me know if you've read any of these books, or are you now intrigued to read any of these books. Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!